So I want to first of all, I want to thank Peggy and Dave for coming and working with us today. I want them to tell your story because these are the people that we are working for every day, creating brochures, marketing, and sometimes I think we lose touch with, what impact we're actually having out in the real world. And so Peggy and Dave are here, and they're going to tell us a little bit about their story, their Hobbs Herder journey, their adventure in real estate, and then any questions you ever wanted to ask a client. They are happy to answer every one of them. All right, Les, we are waiting just for you. There's a chair right up front. So basically, this is Peggy Lucas and David Lucas. I think most of the people sort of have a vague idea of your story, but hearing it from you guys, so tell us your story, how you got involved in Hobbs Herder.
I got out of law enforcement and into real estate and didn't have any family in the industry. I didn't have a friend or anybody that was in the loan officers, title work, nobody. I mean, cops don't run with folks like that. So after
chasing them from time to time.
Yeah, put a couple under a jail. But I decided I wanted out of law enforcement and into something else, and found real estate sort of by accident of having built a house in the past, and I liked that process, and I figured, well, I liked it, let's figure something else out. David stayed out of real estate until I was in it about 7 years, or maybe 5 or 7 years.
Yeah, about 5 years.
So he kind of watched from the police officers, skeptic, deny everything, demand proof on everything background. And my first year in real estate, I was lucky enough to be in a company that allowed one of your trainers to come in and talk. And I don't remember the young man's name, but he made such an impact on my life.
That many years ago?
Yeah.
That's not young anymore.
Yeah. Well, 15 years ago, but there-ish about. But anyway. I was just telling Greg, the statistics was I was in a company of 65 real estate agents in our one branch. There was 1,100 of us in this particular company at the time. And out of our office, out of 65, I was one of 16 that went to that 1 hour training seminar that you guys are so gracious to come around and do for everybody. And out of the 16 that attended, I was one of 3 that went to the actual seminar in Durham, North Carolina, I think is where it was. Nothing going on there except Hobbs Herder.
Now wait, you got to understand that this was also family spring break.
Yeah, we took the kids and everything. So they went to do, while I was in
so
training, the little ones and David went around.
There is nothing to do.
There was nothing there. And it was, I think, a cold time of the year. No,
it was in March. It was in March.
So there was no pool time. So there was nothing for the kids to do. So, but I'm coming back. I'm pumped every time coming back from the seminars. And that evening, I was like, "Look at this book! Somebody finally gave me the answers to." But I was super pumped about it. And David, having been the cop, was like, "Okay, just calm down. Let's keep it simple." Came back the second day, and I was about in tears because he wasn't going to let me sign up. And I'm like going, "But David, you asked me to find how to do the business. I found it. They have taught and showed me." And he goes, "Okay, but we'll figure it out. We'll do it next year." And I said, "No, I want to do it now." So the long story short was I did sign up. I was one of the 3 that signed up for a campaign. And you guys impacted me financially as well as with our family and everything that's going on. I went from a struggling first-year real estate agent. Before I ever got my materials, I went from a $1.5 million to $3 million producer that year waiting for my stuff to be made. I still didn't even have a logo yet, but you guys doubled my income. Thank you.
Now, hang on. She was the prototypical agent. You guys, when the marketing masteries go out and people sign up, she's that agent that waited to have the pictures made.
That's why it took so long. Yeah.
I want my hair to grow out.
They had wide angle lenses, but they didn't have slim angle lenses.
She had all the reasons not to have it done, so it was like 6 months before the pictures came.
And the worst thing for me was in that drive back. Yes, we did not fly; we drove. I wrote out the entire 18-page stuff that you guys. All the way home, I'm in a minivan and I'm writing, and I told the kids, "Hush, I can't think," and I'm writing this all out. But I didn't like my handwriting, so I think I remember calling. Who was it that would have been there? A lady at that event that day, and I said, "I need another one because my handwriting is awful, and I know you guys won't be able to read it. Please send me another one. She goes, no, just send us what you have. She goes, I said, no, send me another one. So that took about 3 extra weeks right there. I mean, I was ready to send it to you guys that next Monday. But I went from that $3 million to that first year that I actually got my materials, which was the anniversary of having gone to the first Gateway, by the way. It was one actual calendar stinking year.
Wow.
But I went from $3 million to $10 million that first year later. And that's the kind of impact. The next year I did 10.5. The year after that I did a little under 11 million. So you guys made a huge difference from a cop that wore Kevlar and combat boots and a uniform making $30,000 a year getting shot at to making 6-digit incomes. And that was the type of impact. And then years later David got into it with me.
So then speak forward 5 years.
Yeah.
And I get 20 years in with the police department, and this lady that I'm married to comes up and she says, hey, 20's enough. You know, you've dodged three separate occasions. You shouldn't be with us, so you need to go. And so I retire. And 6 months after retirement, we're offered, we go into a franchise organization, and we're offered one of us to be the broker of the office. Well, since I hadn't had a license but maybe a couple of years at that point, she goes, sure, I'm the broker. Now, there was this guy in California named Greg Herder that said, no, you don't want to be a broker. And
I think that was what he said.
and I think that's what he said. And she's like, no, we're going to do this. And so she has to turn her program completely off. I mean, it has to shut all the way down. I don't even think he used Peggy at PeggyLucas.com
I couldn't use
during
anything.
the time.
I couldn't
Everything
use
was
anything.
dead. Well, I, on the other hand, had to take up the family ball and get to running. So I make a phone call, and I tell Greg, I said, I need it all. I need a brochure, I need house flyers, I need power cards, I need a website, I need all of this. And there was no negotiations, and here was the price, and I wrote a check. This one goes, whoa, wait a minute. You're going to sit there and tell me you're writing a check for how much? And you're not even going to have a discussion. I said, look, we can't even discuss this. You know, it's one of those that it has to happen because we know it works.
Now,
So she couldn't argue that point at all.
The point wasn't should he do it. It was I wanted to give him some grief because I took 3 days as a rookie greenhorn realtor to try to tell him why I need to do it. And when he turned his on, by the way, you guys did it in I think record time of 6 weeks from concept to print.
To print.
With a fabulous campaign. And I was like, I had to beg on my knees and almost cry in front of you. And I said, before you let me do it, and you just open your checkbook and say, oh, and by the way, expense line item number, blah, 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 blah. But we were just enthralled with it. It was a wonderful process.
Yeah, so my first year, I closed $9.6 million.
Wow.
With a fabulous campaign.
With a fabulous campaign. I mean, it was, because here's the thing, we messed up with her, you know. We made all the mistakes during Peggy's. You know, we really don't need a website right now, so we'll wait. Or, you know, those are expensive power cards. We might want to save a few of those just in case.
Time out.
Yeah.
What I did get him to let me do the first year was the baby package.
That's it.
I had the baby. I mean, I didn't even have a business card. I was like, I got my business card when I went to Cancun and added a few more
We won't
things
get into
to it.
Cancun.
You didn't go.
I didn't get to go. But it was one of those that it was just, I went and got everything, business card, the whole 9 yards, and then, you know, so she's like, nah. Well, a year later, one of us realized that she didn't want to be a broker. So,
One of us realized.
couldn't listen to Greg a year earlier and would have do all this, but no. So she decides she doesn't want to be a broker. Now she's grown a company, a franchise company. She's got 50 agents from 0 to 50, but she doesn't like what she's doing. She enjoys the sales aspect of it. So she comes back out, starts up her brand again. So now we've got 2 brands. We've got David and we've got Peggy. Peggy's putting families first. Mine's the classic MO. Hers is very bright and white.
I'm
and
the
mine's
softer side of
black.
Sears, and he was the hardware department.
Yeah. and what we did though, guys, and this is what I don't think that you guys might not understand or know, is that we would go into a neighborhood, and if she didn't get the response we thought we should get out of it, we'd send my stuff in. And you would get the response. So we started gauging neighborhoods.
Wow.
You know, if you were old or semi-old, you got my stuff.
I could totally get a stroller neighborhood. If there was moms out there walking at 9 o'clock after they put the other kids on the bus and there were strollers out there, I got the
That's her
listings.
neighborhood.
If there were guys out with their walkers, David got them.
Or if it was a highly if business professionals were in there, and then you had to really gauge it, because you would get the stay-at-home moms that made the decision, or you would get the husband or the spouse that worked all the time that made the decision. So it was a real gauge on, okay, how do we do this? So things were going great, and then one of us was approached
Not me.
to take over a failing company. And I said no. And then about a month later, one of us was approached to take over a failing company. And I said yes. And I told this guy named Greg Herder that I was doing it. And he goes, "You don't want to be a broker." And I went, "Sure I do." So I go out. And I'm running I'm rebuilding a company. And Peg's in sales, so everybody's happy. I've got the challenges I like. Everything's going great for her. And then the market turns. Now, we do our best thinking in the car. I don't know where you guys do your best thinking at. It may be in your offices and things. We do it in the car. And it's usually either going to or coming from Disney or Universal Studios. Apparently, that's like creativity right there. So we are driving back from Orlando, and we have seen that this company is not, that this company is not, edit that part out.
They know where we came
They're
from.
not adapting as quickly to the market changes. And so we're seeing a lot of training going middle of the road. It has to be vanilla and cover the masses. And so we're driving back from Orlando, and we start having one of those David and Peggy discussions. Now, my personality profile says I like to argue as a form of communication, and she doesn't. So this was unusual for us. So we're driving back, and in the 8.5-hour drive from Orlando to Birmingham, we create the theory of Lucas and Associates.
We took everything that we learned, both good and bad, from the two companies that we had come from, and we took like 50% of it is what we learned from what you guys create and do for all of us. And and I'm talking about from the 3-day training events that you guys teach us what to do as real estate agents. We now know what to do. We also know what agents don't like or what they don't like to do as part of that. So we developed our company specifically that it's about the agent. It's about the business that agent can create, about their ability to brand themselves under a protective umbrella of Lucas and Associates, and a company that supports and believes in and encourages them to come to the things that you guys do and create at the 3-day training seminars and the and doing a brochure and the campaign and all that. Now, does everybody come in? Everybody actually has been to.
Yes.
A gateway
All
in
of our people,
companies,
yes.
except our last two, and they're planning on
Yes.
coming. So they understand why we think the way we do. If you don't understand the philosophy, you can sit there and go and it's like English and Spanish. I love hearing Spanish. Can't understand anything but cerveza and hola. That's about it. And maybe margarita with a little bit of
Hi,
a
beer.
roll.
That's all.
But they understand our wackiness. And Greg asked David earlier today, is it mandatory that everybody coach? And the answer was yes. Well, they're independent contractors. How do you make them coach? Well, the thing is they want to be coached because they're coming to us. If they don't want to be coached, they don't come to our company. And if they don't want to believe in the fact that the broker doesn't have to hand them business because their brand and their image is what's going to make them their future, because when we decide to go to Palm Springs eventually, they need to have their brand up and running for them. So, but what I want to touch on a little bit for you guys is what it meant to us as individual people and parents of two boys growing up in an economy that nobody expected to go from being, way up high and making six-figure digits to potentially losing everything. And being a police officer, you're limited financially. You are working for someone else. Unless you go out and work every bar job and every wedding special security party, you have a finite amount of money that you can make. But as a real estate agent, as brokers and owners of our company, that was erased and that was taken away from us. And I don't think today that I would be standing here in front of you guys if it hadn't been for you all for doing what you do and so very well, because it allowed us to not just make more money, but it helped us to create a lifestyle that wasn't just money driven, but it was value driven for our children. Our kids have been all over the country. That I think the biggest thing they'd ever been to, I think, was Six Flags in Georgia before, which is
not a great show.
little amusement park over there. But I mean, they've traveled with us across the country over the years, and we've exposed them to things that we never got growing up. I was a baby of 7 children, and our vacations was in our backyard in a swimming pool because there was never anything left. After all that was said and done, David. You know, we argued to see who had the rougher life growing up.
It was me.
I say he had government cheese to eat on his sandwiches, and I said, "Well, you had bread." You know,
Look, everyone. I don't eat cheese. There's a reason for that, and that. But it's actually the truth is that growing up, I was a child of the steel industry. My father worked in the steel mills. And there were, if anything happened in the world, the steel mills shut down. And so there were a lot of times that the steel mills would close. And so, the government cheese joke is, that used to be part of the deal when you went to pick up what they called your union layoff dues when you were in the steel industry, was they gave you a block of cheese. Now, I want to ask you right now, think about going to the grocery store. What comes in cheese block form now? Velveeta. Government cheese is below Velveeta. And
it doesn't melt.
It doesn't melt. No. And you can hurt somebody with it as well, thrown at the right velocity. And so now people go, well, you won't eat like she'll take just cheese, eat cheese, and I can't do that. Yeah, used to, and I can't do that now. But melted cheese on a pizza is a whole different story. Then pizza's its own food group. So like Peg was saying though about the impact. One thing to realize and always remember is that these people that you're dealing with generally don't believe they're that interesting. They really don't. They think
that was me.
That was her. It was Tammy Hallman, which is one of your clients that's in our office. John David Turpo's our baby agent that's having a program done now. Is that they don't think that they're that interesting.
What could you fill in a marketing campaign to write about them? I mean, I was a soccer mom, police officer, and I never had any industry background with real estate. I'm like going, these things, I would come back to the hotel at night and I'd tell David on that first day, you should see these campaigns. They've got books and there's just pages and pages of all of these things you guys had created. And I was like, I'm going to be such a small drop of whatever they could write about me. But and this sounds vain, but I loved what you guys did. I love it so much so I don't think I've changed a single word except for the fact that he's retired. Over the 15 years that you guys have done for us, we've just upgraded the photography over the years.
My grains increased from time to time.
But the other thing that you guys have done for me specifically, and David tells this, and I don't know if it's ever been on video or not, but
is it about to be?
One year, my world got so crazy. It was before I hired my first assistant. And I was closing $10 million a year. That was about 56 transaction sides that year for me. And I was literally working from the time I put the kids on the bus. I was actually working before I put them on the bus, but I'd stop long enough to dress them, put a hat on their head and get them out the door to the school bus. And then I'd start work. And then David was working night shift. And so he would come in at 7 a.m. after I got him off to school, and he'd go to sleep really quickly, sleep a few hours, and then get him up, and he would be there to do the school work with the kids and the dinner for the kids and all that stuff, because I was not coming back home till like 7:30, 8 o'clock at night, because I was fitting everything in that I could physically do with the number of transactions that I did. I closed 56, but I also had 30 units that were still active listings that I was having to deal. So I had like 80 different clients over that 12 months. That's not even including some of the ones that probably fell through the cracks because I didn't have enough time, but spent time working with them, and I was literally exhausted. And so that's the year that finding the right assistant and being able to come back to a gateway and tell the story about what you guys were able to do for us and help us be more systematic and to delegate some of the things that I didn't need to personally do and put an assistant in being able to do them. And I was able to get back home at 6 o'clock at night and maybe 1 or 2 nights a week or a Sunday work really late. But what you do affords a real estate agent that wants to travel at high levels of production the ability to have a life again.
Well, you relieve the pressure, is what you do. If and you guys see the finished product before it goes out. I mean, you get to see it, but you don't see the aftermath of that product. And when I say relieve the pressure, it's you've got someone who works 10, 12 hours a day. And then they get these marketing pieces, and all of a sudden their production's up, their business is doing great, but they're not working as much. And so there's no telling how many family circles that you guys have saved in the process, just because of the fact that they're not 7:30, 8 o'clock getting home. You know, there was a certain point in time before she had her campaign that, you know, we were tagging out. You know, she would come in at 9 o'clock. Well, as in my position with the police department at that time, I was going to work at 10 o'clock. So she's hitting the door, and I'm throwing on the Kevlar and headed out the door. So you're talking about a scenario where you're just passing, and that's, you know, and so, you know, you get to see the campaign, but you don't see the effect of the campaign, and that's really where it comes into play. And there's actually two effects. I mean, the first effect is like us now today. It's successful because we implement and we utilize. The reverse of that is the agents that get the campaigns done, and then they're sitting in the garage on shelving because they listened to someone other than the people in this room, and all they heard was, well, you know, they don't work around here.
Or save it for special.
Or save it for special clients. Well, you know, those are the ones you just want to grab and pull out. So, not that I would, but so, you know, fast forward to today. You know, today you're looking at two people who, in 2009, in the worst real estate market known to man, especially in the Southeast and all over the country for that matter, you know, the Great Recession is going on. We opened a real estate company. Now the first, yeah, you know, your friends look at you. Nice, okay. Drinking loan or much here lately? So.
I need a drink.
You need one? So, you know, the first phone call that was made though was made to this
I can't remember if it was Chris or Dennis or.
You want a what? A logo. You've got two. Yeah, but we need another one.
We need a logo design.
We need to change one.
Yeah.
And so we actually give the hour interview to create our logo, sitting in a car. I told you we're good in cars. Sitting in a car on the side of the street, down from a listing appointment that Peggy was going on. We're just sitting in the car and we're just talking. And the next thing you know, we get these 7 or 8 different logos. And the deal we had with each other was that we would look at them away from each other, pick ours, and email the favorite one to each other. And we emailed the same logo.
Wow.
So we were like, okay, we're done with this one.
Chris, you may not remember this, but you were a big impact about what we did in naming our company.
Really?
Yes, I don't know that I shared this with you. You guys know we were both police officers, and so the thin blue line means something to us, very, very deep at heart. It's the police line, and we were thinking strongly about calling our company the Thin Blue Line. And you had a conversation with me, and you thought that it was a great idea, but don't compartmentalize yourself so small that you don't connect with other agents that also would want to be with your company, not knowing what a thin blue line means. And so we went from naming it, initially didn't want to name it anything about ourselves, but then we got to thinking, well, wait a minute, Greg has spent 12 years developing Lucas name, both David's individual one and my individual one. And while we try to think that we aren't influential against or with or for people, but Lucas & Associates means something in our town, and it's not even just with other real estate agents. And it wasn't until you guys created our logos of Lucas & Associates that people started saying, "Yep, those are good people," you know. Mm-hmm. And we just always kind of go and do our business and with our clients. But you guys have made us who we are today.
Oh yeah.
And I thank every one of you. If you've not served us directly, indirectly, you guys collaborate as a team and you share your wisdom, and you're bringing stuff in our town to life with our agents and their campaigns. And there's this heartbeat of gratitude every time I see one of Tammy Holman's signs with logos that you guys have created, because we bring it even to our yard signs. Mm-hmm. And John David Turpo, Dennis, you guys and your team are working with a young man who just graduated from the University of Alabama with a degree in marketing.
Oh, that was the hilarious part.
And but here's the
Not
part.
that you graduated from Alabama. Roll Tide.
No, but yeah, roll tide. Well, here's the thing. You may have a degree in law, but you don't go and represent yourself in court when you're a lawyer. And we told John Davis, you got a degree in marketing. You don't market yourself. You let the professionals do. So he came in January, I think, too.
No, the actual
February.
phrase was, "Oh, great, you got a marketing degree."
Yes.
So,
So we're gonna let professionals do
we're gonna let
it.
somebody else handle this.
Yeah.
But this is how he trusted us so much. I mean, he grew up. I think we first met John David in the 4th grade.
Yes,
Yes.
we start them early.
Well,
We're growing them early.
First met him in the 4th grade. He and my older son played football together and graduated high school together and went through life situations
Yep.
together. He went off to the university, graduated with his degree in marketing, and the first thing he did was stop by our office after graduation and say, "Can I come and work with you guys? I want to sell real estate. Will you teach me?" And I said, "Yes." "And you're going to sign up for Hobbs Herder's advertising." I said, because that's what I would have wanted somebody to have told me. And so that's kind of what we're doing, is we're growing a company of what not to do's, or what to do's by knowing what not to do.
Well, it's like I told Greg earlier. I said, I sit down with agents. I can tell them I can show you how to lose $500,000, or I can show you how to make $500,000. I said, I've done both. So I'm very versed on either side of this scenario. Which one would you like to know? And it always comes back to when we teach and we talk to our agents about contacting their databases, contacting their spheres. And the first thing you notice is that there's a group of people that we follow besides you guys in Fort Collins called the Group Incorporated, Larry Kendall's group. And yeah, I know there's other people in my pond.
It's like going to 2 different churches.
Yeah, it's 2 different. But,
Catholic, Jewish.
some of them do this all day. They're like exercise. See, I'm Southern Baptist, by the way. Hence I talk with my hands a lot. And my wife is Catholic. So the first time I went to the Catholic church, it was like CrossFit. Because, man, these people are down, they're up. We sit there. Every now and then you pass a plate, throw some cash, you're good to
You're
go.
like Gold's Gym.
Yeah. So stand in the mirror.
I know, right?
So
Do a burpee.
yeah. God, and there goes the mind. So when you were teaching the agents, the group says you have to market to them and you have to utilize art and science. Well, the art is these marketing pieces that you guys create. That's something that sticks with you and that people remember. Then you put the information on this great looking piece, and there you go. It's a complete package. And to get young people especially to realize that, because I'm going to go ahead and tell you now, feeling things, paper and things like that, that's a lost art. Texting, I tell the agents every day, email and texting are the devil. And you just stay away from them. It's that bad. But getting them to understand that if they have branded marketing pieces, if they utilize something that's going to put them ahead of the game, it is such an easier path to take. And I started out with Tammy. She was my receptionist, and then she became an agent, and we taught her that this is what had to be done. And so she has progressed now. She's at a certain point in her sales career that it's no longer how much money do I need to make. It's how can I maintain making this amount of money and not work. And so that's now our goal is minimizing the time. And that's what you guys do. You create that availability of success.
You're the leverage that we're
Yeah.
able to use to catapult ourselves exponentially into the next venue. And not a lot of agents, and I know you guys typically are meeting when you're going to these seminars, you're meeting the forward-thinking ones, or the ones that are looking for the fairy dust of magic that's going to get them to that next level without ever having to do a single exercise to get themselves there. But we want you guys to know that we are grateful for every single thing from 14 years ago to today.
Oh yes.
By allowing us to come in and share a little bit about what it is that you guys do, the magic. I call it, you guys are like the magicians that are, we don't see the sleight of hand when they're doing their tricks, but this fabulous presentation winds up coming
But the girl
out.
with feathers pops out.
Yeah. But that's what it is for us, is that you're the vehicle that allows us as real estate agents to travel through this industry, this profession, or chosen profession as being a realtor, in a professional manner, and something that is consistent but individual to that person that chooses to become your client. And I thank God every day. There's not a day that doesn't go by that I don't think of Hobbs Herder as part of our family, not just business, but as our personal life as family, because you guys have done so much more than what we're ever going to be able to tell you here today that is meaningful for us as individuals. And where we had a conversation with Greg over lunch today, what does our 5-year plan looks like. We're going to be Californians. Is that what you say? Is it Californians?
Californians.
Californians. We want to be Californians.
We want to be in the warm end, though.
We want to be
dudes.
Yeah, we do.
I could deal with that.
We want to be warm ended.
We want to retire and open up another practice in California in the Palm Springs area, and we want to duplicate what we've created in Alabama, let that run itself, and then retire here in California. So that's our goal. And I know, without a shadow of a doubt, if we both stayed in law enforcement, we both would have taken a second job after we retired as police officers, making the same money, if not less, and getting slower and slower over time. And probably would stay in Alabama to retire on a fixed income. But this is something that you don't have to. And so we're excited about our future. I feel every day like it's the first day I met you guys.
So you understand that within the next 5 years is a rewrite coming. You're going to have a broker's rewrite.
We might need to do something besides family first, but kind of give that little, that deal.
There's going to be a broker's rewrite. There'll be a Peg's rewrite. There's going to be some tanned pictures involved. But understand that you impact people, and you impact them every day, and you impact their businesses, and so if they haven't said thank you over a long period of time, we're here to say thank you, because we greatly appreciate everything that you guys do. And if you've got questions and you really wanted to know answers, shoot away.
So anybody have any questions for Peggy and Dave?
How'd the recruiting material work out?
Wonderful.
Cool.
I've got one thing that and it may be that I'm a child of public school education. So, nothing wrong with public school education except where I went. So, but I've got one word I have to fix on the next printing. Okay. But other than that, what occurred? Let me tell you what occurred. The first mail out we did, we're snobs and we're picky. We're just gonna put it like that. And so we don't mass these out to everyone. We go in and re-review.
Well, here's the thing. We've been in this industry long enough in our area to identify the people that would be open to this kind of doing business this way. So we don't broadcast everything out there, but what we are doing is we're being selective on who we're educating about branding and marketing under one umbrella, and helping them to devise and design that plan.
Yep.
So David sent off how many? 40?
34.
34.
We picked 34 people.
And we have hired 6 out of that 34.
Yep.
Or 6 people from that
6
34.
people from that 34. What happened was, one person that we were sending it to, he and his partner came to us. And then the other one, the lady I was sending it to, her company was acquired by another company. And she just blatantly goes, well, I'm not going with you guys, I'm going with Lucas and Associates. And so she brought herself, her husband, and her daughter with her.
Well, her daughter got her license.
Her daughter right after they joined.
Right after they joined us.
Then another person in their office asked her where she was going and why, and once she gave her the brochure and talked to her about it, she came over. So, 6 people in one 34-person mailing, and one round of it. Fantastic.
That's pretty good. Yeah.
That's great.
Did anybody that you arrested call you for a listing presentation?
No, but I will tell you our first date. Our first date story.
Oh yeah, real romantic.
Yes, ma'am, I'm a romantic kind of guy. We enjoy Mexican cuisine, so we were at.
Is there any other?
Yes, there are other cuisines in this world, but that's just the favorite. So we're at this Mexican restaurant in Birmingham. We had just sat down. First real date. We had went on a couple of group gatherings with cops and all this kind of stuff.
This is 25 years ago.
Yeah, a long time ago. So our first date, we're in this restaurant. The chips, the salsa, and the iced teas hit the table. And yes, they were iced teas. I'm not covering up for a margarita or something. So the iced teas hit the table. We start having chips, and we're carrying on conversation, and I, out of the corner of my eye, see the busboy. And I said, put the food down, let's leave right now. And Peg's like, what? And I said, throwing $10 on the table, and I get up and walk. And she's right behind me now, because I'm not even waiting, I'm out the door. She goes, what's going on? I said, I put the busboy in jail for drugs on Saturday night.
He said, I'm not eating any food that comes out of that kitchen.
That's not going to happen.
I really, on the way out the door, I'm going, gosh, do I really want to go out with this guy again? I really, it's like, I didn't get the explanation until we were in the car what had happened. What had happened was. and so, but yeah, 25 years later, here we still are, happily married.
Yep. Got married on the most romantic of holidays, which is, y'all know what that is?
Valentine's.
No.
Halloween?
New Year's?
Groundhog Day.
Groundhog
That's right. We use the Greg Herder card for the announcements. It was on accident, but it worked out that way. I have yet to forget an anniversary, buddy. That's all I can tell you.
I had a question. Go ahead. Are you a better typist than this now?
I use
No.
these two fingers. Yes, sir. Matter of fact, I can actually roll a pinky in there from time to time. Now, just so you understand, Chris and I had a conversation one time. We were talking about how I used to come off the morning shift at 7 o'clock in the morning, and I would do all of Peggy's website work for before I went to bed. Now, which typically would only take a normal person maybe 15-20 minutes, because the website was so well laid out.
Thank
you know,
God
you
for
could
cut
pull
and paste.
you could plug things in, everything was great. Well, I only use these two fingers to type, so I'm wearing it out on the keyboard. But no, I can every now and then I can really move.
You can text
I can. Oh, hey, look, two fingers. I am good at that. I can text remarkably well.
And he still acts like he's got a BlackBerry when he's doing it.
Oh, yeah.
So, any questions from the BDRs? You have brokers.
I've talked to Peggy before when I've booked workshops. I'm Linda, but
Oh, well, let me go. Oh, so you booked?
I call Peggy and say, "Would you like to have us come in to do a workshop?"
All right.
Well, let me tell this story. We booked you. I think it was you who called me that got our January,
Mhm.
and I can't remember the young lady's name because I was so excited that day. Everything went out of my head. We were expecting tall black lady.
Donna or
Marion.
Yes,
Marion.
Marion. So I'm so excited, and it's the first meeting of the year, and I was like, okay, they're going to come in January. They're coming, so we can maybe take everybody to the Atlanta one. And we've got a lot of new agents that had never been exposed to Hobbs Herder before, so I was really wanting to put our whole hog out there, and that's a Southernism, and just make sure everything went well for her. And then around the corner, I was not expecting this. Here comes Bob. And I was not expecting Bob to come in with her, and I lost everything. I was like, oh my God, Bob, they brought everybody out here. So we were so excited, and that's how we feel every day about everybody that's here with that, is that, and she did a fabulous job, by the way, on the presentation. I think she had 6 sign-ups
Yes. I think
out of
so.
that day, and I got to go without David. What
Again.
we are not connected to the umbilical cord. It just seems that way sometimes, but that was amazing. You guys really impacted the group of people that in that gateway. Or I'm sorry, I'm old school. I'm calling it gateway still.
Marketing mastery.
The MMs. But there's a husband and wife team that's going to be calling you guys back. I think they had to put some things on delays because some things in their world happened. And then John David Turpo's. I love what I'm seeing there.
Yeah,
It's in the process of it all, and then Brandy, she wound up shortly afterwards. Just found out that she was pregnant, so she procrastinated her campaign. So I think right after baby delivery in December,
sure.
she's going to be signing up and doing her campaign.
But when you would always remember this, that when you call brokers, there's going to be 2 mindsets. And Greg and I actually talked about this today. There's the mindset of the broker who will do whatever it takes to make sure that their people succeed. And then there's the broker that will do whatever it takes to make sure that their brand succeeds. Those are really not ever going to happen. Just because they're archaic and they're old and whether they're physically old or just old. But they're so stuck where they don't need to be. And it usually, if you're like me, within the first couple of minutes, I can gauge whether or not that's going to be the world. Don't get overly upset on these. Just know that they're out there, but also know that there's brokers like us. Now of course, she will tell you I don't sell houses, which I don't. I run a company. She sells houses. So if you have brokers that want to ask questions, tell them to call me. You tell them to call me, and I don't have a problem talking to them. I'll tell them about it, because those are going to be the people that are going to encourage their people to advance their business in the ways they do business. The ones that are stuck back in the 50s aren't going to do that. So if you got someone and they're like, well, I don't know, tell them to call me.
So
I was
now,
amazed
if
to-
Dave doesn't call me in the next month and say, gosh, I finally got a call.
Or either that, or I'm going, man, they're blowing up my phone.
Well, I told Greg earlier, I can always tell when there's a gateway or
Oh, yes.
a marketing mastery, a marketing
Think candy.
mastery going on, because I'll get emails or phone calls. I've taken calls from people from Colorado that have been to different events, and they'll call and they'll ask, "Are you real?" Like I'm some
Oh, it's so
fictitious
funny.
agent.
We paid you.
No.
No.
We get that one too.
No, they
We
think I'm a
get-
made-up marketing campaign,
Yeah.
and that I'm not real.
But my favorite one though is when you walk in and see, and now the table is turned just a wee bit. Okay, I just want you guys to know this.
Who's writing the checks?
Well, no, no, wait a minute. Ask her how much money she has in the bank. She wouldn't know right now. So, she's like, hey, I'm doing this, and I'm like, okay. And she goes, well, I always wanted to tell you so you can look. I'll let you know when we're out of money. Okay. Until then. So, but one of the things about when we walk into the marketing mastery event, see, I remember.
I know.
That, okay.
Yeah.
I saw you mess it up. I was not going to do it that time.
I was here for you.
I know. So, you walk in, and as soon as one of us hits the screen, everybody's like,
Oh yeah, that's funny.
you know at that point there's going to be questions.
We don't tell anybody. We just kind of go in
we
nonchalantly.
just
We
kinda
sit
sit
down
there.
and we pass cards, and they're, that's kind of nice. Wow.
Yes, yeah.
And then they'll sit down there waiting for Greg to come out on stage, and then Greg will throw out the first piece, and you'll hear people talk. I think that's her. I think that's the lady up there. No, but it's when it's a validation.
Yes.
When it's
That we
real.
actually exist, because too often you get people that have come through your real estate offices and they're selling you something, and they have the stand-in photo, they have all this kind of stuff where, well, we just did this great one for Joe's used car lot type thing. We weren't great for your real estate business. And so by having people at the events that are actually clients, it's a validation of the product, and then it makes it real, and it makes it something, because they'll pull us to the side and they'll ask the questions that they won't ask you guys. How long does it really take? Because that's always the big question. How long does it really take? And my reply.
How much does it really cost?
And how much does it really cost? Well, my how long does it really take reply, if we're standing side by side, I get a little arm's length distance. I said, well, it can take up to a year, or it can take about 3 months. Depends on which method you utilize. And then, of course, it's a huge financial statement for these people to do this. So then the next question is it worth it? Or how much does it really cost? Okay, now they're going to do this, but how much does it cost? And I'll tell them, because I usually use you guys to print anyway. So I'm kind of bad of me. I've got prices close, and I'm like,
Well, you know what you spend on mine.
I know what I spend on our stuff. So I'll say, this is how much it costs to develop it. Whatever it says on this sheet is what it's going to cost you to develop it. And then it's going to cost you roughly X number of dollars to get it printed.
And here's something they miss all the time. Every single person I ever talked to misses. They look at this number, and they think they got to do that number again the next year,
Yeah.
and that number again
Oh, yeah.
the next year. But they don't understand that once it's an investment,
It's your stuff.
yours. It's yours. It's just the cost of reprinting it. So while mine now has gotten so small about what it has cost me over 15 years, it's embarrassing to tell people what I've spent, because it continues to work, but I don't have to repay for the marketing campaign every single year. That's just an initial expense. So if
And
you're
it
comparing,
doesn't change.
if you're comparing and being in business where you have all this overhead, if you're a restaurant owner and you have to go out and you have to buy dishes and you have to buy the groceries, you have to pay for employment, you have to pay for all of this other stuff that you got going on running a business, you cannot get more professional material at a cost of what you guys charge. Is so much, it's worth so much more than what you charge. And it's hard to tell people that. But like each year when you're talking about, okay, now all I have to do is reprint, it's cut in half that next year. And the year after that, it's cut in a third. Because you've already developed and paid for all that stuff. But the biggest thing I tell them, they ask me what's my takeaway from it, is that you guys don't go away. You're here. You're here to support. You're here to continually train. You're here to provide answers and redirections. Dennis did a great job. John David was about sick to his stomach. He didn't know how to talk to you guys about doing all this.
And of course, a recent college graduate is not going to say to someone in the industry, and if you want to really remember one thing, make sure they know that they can say something.
Right.
Because for him, he was he was worried twofold. One, he didn't want
Us to be
mom
upset.
and dad upset.
Yeah, I feel like
You
I'm
know.
his mom.
You know, we feel like his parents from time to time, and then he didn't want to upset you guys. So he was kind of like, because
He's heard us talk about our two individual ones, our company one, Tammy Hallman's, and he asked, well, how many redos did you guys have to do? I didn't do any redos at all, ever. Not a word, nothing. You guys, we totally gave it up. David, nothing. I think Tammy Hallman's came out almost as fast as yours did,
yeah.
without any kind of change. So we tried to explain to him if it was something he wasn't feeling connected to, is to communicate and talk with you guys, because you're there. That's what you're there for. But I think it had a lot to do with his age and him not knowing how. He kind of felt like he was disappointing you if he didn't like it. And I said, no, this is your piece. This is your clothes that you wear. It's like, you know.
And as far as the broker recruiting program that we've got running now, you know, when I got the call from Dennis, it was like, hey, got a question for you. Can you do this, this, and this, and this? And I'm, yeah, I think, sure. And then I get sent the proofs, and I'm like, oh wow, wait a minute, I look good. I'm interesting again. And so, you know, that's where I believe the next generation of your business is going to come from. Is going to come from the brokers that understand that it's got to be about the agent and not about the brand or the company brand. And that's weird for people, because they go, well, wait a minute, didn't they design your company brand? Well, yes.
I was talking to a broker who called me about 3 weeks ago, and he's from Columbus, Georgia, and he came to the Atlanta one.
What's it called?
Wow.
Marketing mastery.
Yeah.
I mean, you get something ingrained for 15 years.
I know.
Don't shift third to fifth.
You still do it, don't worry.
But he called me and he was asking me questions about it, and how did our brokering campaign, you know, work out for us. I thought he was already a client of yours. Wasn't absolutely sure. I wish I could remember his name. That's fading me right now, but
Oh, it'll hit you probably about
But-
Not Reynolds, Becker stuff?
no. He's
Oh, no.
fabulous.
I was
He's
gonna say,
fabulous.
no, he's
just like
matter
you
of fact,
guys.
we have a common client.
Reynolds like us, he calls up, he goes, just bill me and let me know when it's done.
We actually have a common client. I'm selling this lady's house, and she's already bought a house with Reynolds in Georgia, but I didn't refer her to him because she'd already bought a house, and he didn't think to refer it to one here to anybody because it was a rental property. And so we wound up with the same client, and I said, I was telling her something. She goes, I need something at my house in Columbus. And I said, well, I've got a great agent contact in Columbus, Georgia. I'm sure he's got somebody on a list that we could get out there to fix that at your house for you. His name is Reynolds. And before I could say Bickerstaff, she calls off. She goes, that was my agent. And I went, well, you get the best. You know, like attracts like.
That's cool.
What else?
Is there good Mexican cuisine in Birmingham?
Yes, there is.
Two really good ones.
The tea's terrible, but
That's not tea.
not anymore. It's not, buddy.
It's just like Mexico.
It's like just like this.
There are two. There's one genuine family run.
Yes.
They have like a grocery store and a restaurant. It's like a hole in the wall kind of place.
Oh, it's great.
Good food.
Always the best.
I mean,
And
you walk past the canned goods to the
Oh,
back,
I like those.
and you know, and there's this guy standing back there with 2 tables.
And they make all their own
That's it.
stuff fresh right there. And then there was another one that we eat at Iguana Grill. It's a little more commercially southwesternish kind of thing, but it's pretty good.
Now barbecue on there, then we got tons.
If you're ever in Tuscaloosa, the true
Oh look, we missed the opportunity. Greg and Chris and Bob came to Birmingham during the snowstorm that we had that go around. And what did we do?
we took them to Mexico.
We took them to Mexican food.
And
We
was
had the donuts. Yeah, we had Shipley's, which you got to remember, kolaches were
I was
they
thinking,
were right
you
on.
know,
That's a good restaurant.
and,
Yeah.
and Greg, with his disappointed little face, he says, "I thought we'd get some barbecue." You were in the South. I thought we'd get some barbecue. But there is a really, if you're ever in that area, what is the name?
Dreamland.
Dreamland Barbecue, and they do deliver. Robin Molinakis, you guys know Robin.
Yes.
I have become really good friends with her dad on Facebook. Social media just kind of grows you in all different directions.
Yeah.
So we got in a conversation about football. We're big Roll Tide fans. They're Ohio, big fans. And he wasn't doing really well one day, so I called Dreamland up and I ordered to be delivered to his house a crate of
Slab of
barbecue
ribs.
Wow.
ribs, banana pudding, and what was the other?
White bread.
White bread.
That's all they
So-
sell.
And so. And,
No lie, guys.
That's all they
That's the
have.
menu.
That's all- oh, yeah,
Ribs,
totally it.
white bread, chips if you want them. They're up on the little hangy things on the
take it
wall.
out.
You take one of them.
That's funny.
That's
And
it.
dessert is banana pudding, and that is it. If you want anything else,
But-
you need to go elsewhere.
So Larry called me a few days later and thanked me for that. And he said he put half of it in the freezer so he could save it for the next ball game. But Dreamland Barbecue.
Yes.
And if you need to buy or sell real estate in Birmingham, call Peggy Lucas.
For the next 5 minutes.
But yes. Yeah.
So any other questions, guys?
What's the one thing you guys want to know of that when you're creating those plans that agents are giving you a push or something about the programming or not feeling the process
Okay,
or whatever?
here's the question: do they cooperate or not? The agents.
the customer.
The agent, the customer.
The agents, yeah.
I mean, cause
Can we clone you guys?
Yeah. Seriously.
well, but see, that's the thing to remember is that
Of which you designed our logo, if I remember correctly.
Not the logo, but
The Lucas and Associates logo?
no.
That's probably better.
That was Meredith, probably.
no,
Was it you?
yes,
What did you and I talk about? The website?
You and I worked on that report a long time ago when you were doing that
the new construction report. Yeah,
Yeah.
I did the new website.
yeah. There's
That's
the new
what it
website.
See, I'm getting to put faces
which
with names
you know,
finally.
now here's
Is it?
now we are not the perfect client. I'm gonna go ahead and tell you, because one of us is a little slow on the updraw as far as
Jesus.
uh,
How long you guys been married?
25 years. I'm solid in this one, buddy. I'm telling you.
We only dated like 2.5 months before we got
And then
married.
she asked me to marry her.
Okay.
Y'all laugh again. It's the truth. It was during Truth or Dare, and I said yes. She there was no way she could back out of it. So, yeah, that's what I'm telling you. But see, the great thing is as I've talked to Dennis, and I know that we need to upgrade the websites to WordPress. So I'm like, yeah, we got to do this. We're going to do Pegs first because Pegs is the oldest.
It
And,
looks great, by the way. I can't wait to
and
see
we're
the
going to
rest
do
of it.
this, and so I think she received like 5 emails about approving a front page, and I don't think she ever replied to any of them.
I did.
And then when I finally asked her about it, because I said, hey, Dennis wanted to know,
I did, though.
have you happened to look at those yet? And so then she looks at them, and so now I think we're to the point of you guys are working through the rest of it. And now, oh, by the way, she wants the blog button back on.
I've already sent
So-
Josh. Josh is not here, right?
I'm not
Betsky's a designer.
not talking about now.
Okay, Peg wants the blog button back on.
Okay.
And
Well,
we'll
and here's why
work
I
through
said-
that little hurdle as we go
Here's
through
why I
it.
said the get used to change kind of thing. I don't blog. But somebody says, well, you write such great things on your Facebook. That is a blog. You're just doing it on Facebook as opposed to writing it in a blog on your
Right.
on your thing. So I'm going to jump into the
Yay.
Blog.
tar.
So as soon as hers is complete, maybe next year sometime, I'm not sure. Then
I
we're
think
gonna take the company site and make it into WordPress, and we're gonna do some. I'm gonna get back with the iHome Finder, and we're
That's
gonna
what
figure
I want to
some
get up and running because I mean,
Yeah,
like,
set up an appointment.
yeah.
We're gonna take care of that because it's just one of those where, as the company grows, as things grow, you have to expand everything out. So, you know, we are still babies. I mean, we're only 5 years old in the company, but at the same time, it's a growth that we're experiencing. So as technology changes and things like that, we have to depend on you guys to keep us current on what's going on in the world, because we get into our little world and we kind of lose focus from time to time on it. So thank you for keeping us focused on that, because that to me is a huge thing to have to keep up with. And so that's the reason I appreciate the communication that I get that says, like the set it and forget it, for example, that one of us
I'm just gonna go in here.
was supposed to look, guys. I'm gonna tell you, I can only do so much.
Well, it doesn't matter what I say. It doesn't matter what I
Look,
do.
you were sitting in the office when we had the
I know,
conversation.
I know.
But the set it and forget it though is another great thing that as you're booking, they need to know about that, because if they're a contact-driven company, that is the greatest thing in the world. I don't have to think about what to send out. It's sent out for me, and poof, I'm done. It shows up on a credit card, and there it goes. It's great.
So
You're swimming into deep water. But go
This is
ahead.
for me?
This is for you. So, do you attribute your success to her being the guinea queen?
Oh God, yes.
Yeah,
Being
so-
the what?
She was a guinea pig. Oh, absolutely. Let me tell you
That's
something.
something from Australia?
No,
Look, yeah, and I tell this even at the marketing mastery events when we were there, is we made the mistake with hers. Well, I made the mistake. I made the mistake with hers because I didn't agree to do what should have been done,
Sure.
which.
But with that said, as with him not being in the industry yet, not understanding real estate the way from a realtor's perspective, it did allow me to actually utilize the tools that you guys made for me. And then I'd go to the next gateway and I'd add something else, and I went to the next gateway and I added something else. And by the fourth time, I think I had everything, including a billboard.
Yep.
I didn't have a commercial. I think that's the only thing I don't
But
have.
you're the complete package now. I mean, if there's any way to instill on people that you can design their campaigns, you can have the iHome Finder aspect of it for their MLS search options. You can have the exact contact, which has everything loaded on it to go with your campaigns, and then you have the digital printing to take care of all of the printing. That's a complete marketing system done.
I think most real estate agents, when we're at the seminars, is they're concerned about that initial sticker price as well. Because I don't think anybody goes to these seminars, stays 3 days, and doesn't believe that they could work. They don't believe in themselves that they will come home after spending that money and making it work. It's because they know how, and I don't want to use the term lazy, because that's not really the word I'm looking for, but for the lack of better terms, is that if they go and they spend X number of thousands of dollars on this, will they go home and actually implement it and make it work? And they've already answered their own question when they walk out without signing it up. The answer was no. It's not that they don't want the program or the process or anything like that, or believe that something could be written about them. It's there's got to be something, and I think David and I do it on occasion when we're talking to people one-on-one, but that if they go home and they even just do it half the way, where they are now and what they're making in income is so worth every penny that you spend that you're going to so far replace it. I actually used to tell everybody that, and it's true, I had the entire system, including printing, paid for in the first 12 months, and the first 12 weeks after I got home from the seminar. I had our trip, I had our the actual initial investment, I had printing set aside. Everything was
done.
Everything was set aside, but it was from stuff that I learned from the gateway. Or at that time, it was the gateway. It was at that time, but I took the for sale by owner campaign. Oh, you can. We got a public recording.
No,
We got
No, thank you.
See, I can work here. You're a good receptionist.
No, he opened the door and went, "Oh, it's one of those TV specials."
What not to do in real estate.
No, he's running through his mind. Okay, I'm good. I'm good. I'm good. Maybe.
Yeah.
But if there's something that you could, I don't know, by taking little excerpts, and you guys are really good on your website of taking snippets from people's statements over the years about what that initial investment means and how much something like that could actually change their life. Because you don't spend X number of dollars to fly yourself to a city, to sit in a chair for 3 days, most of which the rooms are extremely cold. Las Vegas, I don't care. I don't think I ever went to a Las Vegas one where it was comfortable. Break out those blankets. That doesn't want to make a serious change in their life, and it's not just their business; it is their life.
Yeah.
It's their lifestyle. It's what they can create. A different way of doing exactly what it is.
And
that
you
they do every
guys
day
are the
anyway.
you guys are the foundation and the platform that all that happens with. All that success happens because of what you create.
Question. When either or both of you first received your brochures, did you want to make changes but force yourself not to?
Mm-mm. I didn't want to change a thing.
You didn't
Mine.
have anything?
Oh no, because I'm a highly
I
opinionated
actually wanted
person.
the model
I don't
that you
have
guys-
a problem with calling somebody up.
I actually wanted the model that you put in there as the placeholder. I wanted her to go on it. She looked so much nicer.
And, well, I made one change on mine. When they sent me the front of it, it had the big M and the big O, but there was no periods
Oh, okay.
to separate the M and O. So it looked like Mo, and everybody wanted. I started thinking, well, God, they're going to all want to know where Curly he is.
For everybody, I know some of you normally get off at 4 and
Oh,
have kids
God,
to pick
I'm
up
sorry.
and stuff like that. So if you need to leave, don't feel any pressure. I mean, so.
Yeah, we're only out here a day. Don't worry about it. No,
Talk about who's Catholic in the room. What kind of guilt trip was that?
no, if you've got questions, great. And we won't gab anymore. We'll behave.
Yeah.
So one of the things what I do want to, while you're here, ask is, one of the things that some of the people that are talking to people on the phone about coming back to the Marketing Mastery event or the Gateway event, whatever you want to call it, how many seminars have you guys actually been to? I mean, best guess.
Well, I've been to a lot. I've never been to Cancun, but I've been to a lot.
I think it's 19 for me.
19.
Wow.
In 14 years.
And 40, yeah. And
Because
then,
I went to the managers one
Yep.
twice.
Yep.
And then the rest of them have all been
the
Marketing Mastery or Gateways. And the reason is when I came back, it wasn't just about me. I want to expose it to the other people that I invite to come into the circle. I call it the circle, but because if I see them stumbling and they're not getting it, I'll have a conversation with them on breakout sessions.
Yep.
And it's like, why aren't you getting this or whatever?
I think I'm probably an even dozen because I went to one, and that's the other thing. And this is another thing. If you're out and about talking with people, and people go to it, every now and then encourage the spouse on the second one to go. Because I sit there and I'm listening to Greg's
dear Lord.
talk, and every now and then he would say something, and I would go, "Are you doing
I had a bruise on my arm after that one.
that?" And she would go,
You're not doing that!
she would
Why
go,
aren't you doing
she'd
that?
go, "No, I'm not doing that." Why not?
Just
pay attention.
The question was, do you have that? And when I would reply
Yeah.
yes, I was scared the next time to say yes. He says, well, why aren't you doing that? And it was overwhelmed. It was because you can take so many aspects of it, everything that you guys have written over the years, and just do one small aspect of it, and you could blow up somebody's career beyond recognition the following year. So there's so much and I didn't answer this on the interview. I choose not to do expireds for a reason. If I choose to do an expired moment, or I call it a moment because I don't do them consistently all the time, I prefer ones that are expired 3 months, not 24 hours, because there's a reason behind it. And being a company owner now, I do not want people to look at me as though I'm scarfing business from a 24-hour expire because somebody didn't do their job the night before and get an extension. However, if it's been off the market for 3 months and I develop that campaign out to them that it's been some time, you've had some breathers, are you still considering blah, 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 and here's a special report, that goes so much farther than the initial 24 hours, 7 days a week kind of thing. So basically what I did is I turned expired 7-day program, because I know they're off the market now, into a 7-week program. And I just give them that one.
Yep. Treat them kind of like the for sale by owner campaign.
Right.
Just extend it out.
Different information, less information because they may not. And a lot of times I'll get a telephone call. Well, we've decided not to sell at all, or I'll get an invite
Right.
to come and say, what would you do differently? And we've had crazy things happen, from just simple pieces going out to not expecting anything. I did a end of the year newsletter once on a for sale by owner I sold in a neighborhood. That next year, from one mailing, I listed and sold 7 pieces of property in that area from one mailing.
Wow.
I became I became the cottage specialist
Yes.
without even knowing it. I mean, at one point I think I had 4 signs in that community, and there was a total of 10 signs altogether, and 4 of them were mine at that one time frame.
Yep.
But what you're doing is so admirable and is so appreciative on our end that we want to share it with everybody else that's around us, and definitely the ones that come into our company. But we tell to other people that are in our town too, that are our competitors. And they look at us like we're weirdos. Like, why are we telling you all of our trade secrets? And I said, because it's only a secret if you don't tell about it. So
Well, and then she's nicer. I just look at it because you're probably not going to use it anyway. So,
I want to thank you for everything you've done for us over the years, and especially for
Yes.
letting us come into your home and share a little bit with you. And it's an honor to get to know everybody on a little bit more personal level.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, so thank you guys for coming and sharing, and
thank you for having
remember,
us.
guys,
Yes.
anytime you want to call them, and
Yes.
ask questions.
Yeah.
You
Or
got numbers?
if you've got a
just-
customer that's just
Yeah.
sort of needing one of our experienced answers or whatever, feel free to have them email us or call us.
Careful what you wish for.
Yeah.
Made it impossible.
But that's it, really, because we're more than happy to do that.